Why do you need to be self-aware? Let me tell you why. Because if you just rolled out of bed and your significant other said, hey, you need to run to the store real quick because I'm out of tampons. And you literally are like, what, babe? What, babe? What, babe? Okay. You just roll up out of bed and you just grab whatever clothes you can grab. Let's say you go through let's say you're like me and you just grab whatever clothes you can get on the floor that you think might be clean. You just throw it on. You don't even think. You're just like autopilot. I'm gonna grab the shirt, put on some pants, grab these shoes, I'm gonna grab the keys. I'm not even gonna put on deodorant. We're just gonna run straight up. Hop in the car, get those tampons. But when you're in the store getting those tampons, the customers, other customers and employees are looking at you funny because maybe you put on that black shirt that actually has a throw up on it or something. Or maybe you got you're wearing some pants that you spilled some food on. You know what I mean? Like, but alas, hey, at least you got the tampons. Your significant other's happy now. Yo, if y'all have been enjoying these episodes and just enjoy this content, and if you just enjoy that little bit right there, feel free to like. If you really want to commit to KINGxKISHI's channel, subscribe. If you got any thoughts that you want to say that cross your mind, feel free to communicate that in the comment section. Please. And yeah, low-key, that's why you need to be self-aware. Now, for me personally, that's never happened to me. But sometimes I've had my days where maybe first thing in the morning, I get woken up and I'm like, kind of like that. Except I might still be somewhat aware of like the clothes I'm putting on, actually take a quick like inspection versus just throwing something on. Cause let's be for real, I don't know if y'all know anybody that's like that does that just literally throws on their clothes when something just pops up like that and doesn't really try to inspect what they got on, even like maybe forgetting to put on underwear. Who knows, right? But that's why self-awareness is important. That's why you got to be self-aware. Now, for me, my experience with self-awareness, it's been, I used to call being self-aware a blessing and a curse, you know? And to me, I think there's like maybe 3 different levels of self-awareness and maybe some subsections in that. I think there's a low level of self-awareness where, you know, you have the most, basic self-awareness, which is like, hey, okay, you need to get a haircut. Your hairline looking a little crooked. You might need to get that fixed up. Or, hey, your breath been rocking and the toothbrush ain't helping. You might need to go to the dentist. Yeah. I'm sorry. That really got me for a moment. Having a rancid breath. Oh boy. Or you might need to be brushing your teeth after every meal, at least, to say the least, if your breath is smelling like that. And when it comes to self-awareness for me, I've always viewed self-awareness kind of as a blessing and a curse in a way. Because I'm a multifaceted person. But at a high level, I can say positives about me, negatives about me. Sometimes the negative about me is that I get low-key anxious about a lot of stuff. I used to get low-key anxious when I was about to record a new YouTube video. I used to get low-key anxious when I'm about to record, when I first started recording these episodes for the Prime Feeling podcast, right? And so I've learned from being self-aware that I'm low-key always anxious. I'm low-key always anxious about a lot of stuff. And I realized too, from being self-aware, that my anxiety sometimes will just lead me to do things a certain type of way or take a certain type of approach, in that I might know that, okay, I got to clean these dishes and then I got to do the laundry. I really want to record this episode, or I really want to live stream real soon, but I got all this other stuff to do. Oh, I got to cook some food for my daughter. Oh, I got to get some clothes ready for a job interview, whatever, right? And I realized these past couple months, it's been a long time coming, but I've realized these past couple months that is something I kind of deal with sometimes. But I used to deal with anxiety I used to not have a good relationship with my anxiety. I used to have a really bad relationship. And sometimes my anxiety still can get a little bad sometimes, but it's not nowhere near how bad it used to be whatsoever. It's more so like this water under the bridge. Like, it's there, it is what it is, but it'll pass. It is what it is, right? But from making that realization, though, I just realized, like, I kind of always have this low-key underlying feeling of, I want to just get things done, just be done with this thing, move on to the next thing, move on to the next thing. And it kind of even impacted maybe some social interactions, even when it comes to dealing with family sometimes, dealing with friends sometimes, dealing with just different random people. Sometimes my anxiety has made me like not do certain things that I should have just did it. Like, I shouldn't have anxiety about taking the trash out at like in the middle of the night and worry about what if something happens to me when nothing's gonna happen to me. And I'm not saying that's really how I be feeling, but I'm just using just random examples, honestly. And that's what I've learned from being self-aware. I would say, honestly, that's the negative side of being self-aware, is when you know your flaws and you know what challenges you have to deal and face and how you kind of approach it. And I can say now for myself that I do my best to be more and more self-aware every day, to the point now where it's kind of almost like the Matrix, low-key. It's almost like the Matrix, in that I'm essentially, I'll start my day and I know some of the things I'm going to do during the day, but I also have a routine. It's like, okay, going to do this first, then brush our teeth, and take care of that, and take care of this. And I'm literally just picking stuff out of the air right now if you're watching the video. And that's kind of how it feels like for me now when it comes to being self-aware. It's honestly been quite a positive experience. And this is a conversation that I don't think this will be the last time that we have a conversation about this sort of topic, or even a discussion about something like this, because it's so multifaceted. And I don't necessarily want to get into the whole, like, create a whole breakdown for you guys, because as you know, I might start yapping. I don't want to start yapping too much about something I know there's so many different ways this sort of conversation could go. Now, the positives of being self-aware for me personally have always been just being aware of myself, and sometimes being aware of myself and things I'm doing good. Sometimes in general, I'm a very, at least for the past 10 years of my life, I've always been pretty hard on myself. I developed this mentality kind of in my early adulthood, where you have this mindset of no one else can hold me accountable more than myself. And honestly, the law can hold you more accountable. but I mean, anyways, the law. Don't you love the law? don't you love the legalities and regulations and whatnot? It's like, no, I'm kidding. Being accountable for myself. Being accountable for myself, I felt like that for, like I said, over a decade. And it's to the point, low key, where you start really digging in on yourself. You know what I mean? Sorry, y'all. I'm expecting a delivery pretty soon. So if you catch me on my phone or I take a quick pause or whatever, that's why. But even take something like just being accountable for yourself, right? I used to be really hard on myself because I was like, my mom's not going to tell me that what I did was wrong. I got to hold myself even higher. I got to hold myself to a standard where there's nothing my mom can tell me, right? There's nothing my mom, the woman that birthed me, the woman that brought me into this earth, can tell me to make myself hold myself accountable better. And to be honest, when it comes down to it, her, my father, stepfather too, I'd probably say those are like, when it comes to authority figures in my life, even though I'm a grown man now, when it came to authority figures in my life growing up, those are like the three where it's like, if they say something negative about me, but it's because I really did something negative, I might feel away. Low key. So for me, my mentality was like, I gotta be above that. I gotta hold myself to a whole nother level. And for the most part, I do think I am an accountable person. Am I perfect? No way. No way. That came with my self-awareness. I used to really hold myself to this high standard of, I'm being accountable for this mistake I made and that mistake I made. And I kind of developed this mindset of two perspectives where it's like, on one hand, I'm like, okay, if I hold myself accountable, then it doesn't really matter what no one else thinks of me. But then at the same time too, it's like, yeah, you can hold yourself accountable, but having to, like, let's say, I got into a fight with my cousin. We got into a physical fight. We both threw punches at each other, whatever, right? Let's say something like that happens. Let's say the whole fight was just over some dumbass shit, honestly. Me personally, I would be aware of that. Even though I can also be self-aware in that, hey, man, the fight started over something dumb. Emotions were high. This is where we got to. It is what it is, sort of thing. At the same time too, I don't make it right. And even if I take responsibility and all this stuff, it's like, you can apologize, but someone still has to accept that apology, you know? My mom was the first person that told me growing up, like, hey, you did something wrong, you need to apologize. I remember I told one of my family members I hated them. I said that when I was 5 years old. And I remember my mom telling me, like, you can't say that. And I felt bad. And I was like, I will never ever tell a family member again, to their face at least, that I hate them. But low-key, that family member now, it's like, I don't even hate them whatsoever. It was just really more so being a kid and kind of having that, I'm a kid, you're an adult, different mindsets, the clashing that comes with that, you know, at times, sometimes when you're a kid growing up, which I fully understand now. But as an adult, it's whatever. Even as a teenager, it was whatever, you know? And yeah, dang, I'm not even trying to make this episode about accountability, but just being self-aware of just different aspects of yourself, being self-aware of that, being self-aware of, like, hey, I was trying to be accountable, but at the same time too, what did that really do? You know, like, on one hand, it helps a lot still being an accountable person, but at the same time too, You do, if I did someone dirty and maybe I didn't realize I did someone dirty, or maybe I was like, I'm gonna just do someone dirty and scam them and just act like nothing happened. Yeah, I'm not dumb. Like, I'm aware of all my actions. I'm aware of all of my actions. I'm aware of all of my actions. And I think, honestly, where I really want to get at here, because I feel like I still haven't gotten to the real positive of being self-aware, is that I think being self-aware can be a superpower. Honestly, I think being self-aware can be a superpower, in that you have to know your strengths and your weaknesses. You have to know what you're good at, what you're bad at. It's important to know those things about yourself, because at the end of the day, maybe if you're listening to this and if you're a kid listening to this, get off my chance. Like, no. Tell your parent to come and watch this episode with you, because I don't really make kids content like that. But if you're a teenager, if you're a young adult, if you're in your late 20s like myself, you're just an adult. Let's just leave it at that. Or an older adult, as they say now, not senior citizens. I would say being self-aware can be your superpower, because knowing your strengths and weaknesses is really imperative. Because as hard as I was on myself with being accountable, I also started to realize, oh, there's like a drain I'm feeling with this. But my mind is so focused on, like, I'm going to do everything in my power to be accountable, be responsible for my actions, what I do, and all that. But then in my head, it's such a draining feeling, because it's like I'm acting like I'm Superman holding the weight of the world, basically, right? Or like I'm Batman trying to save Gotham. Like, as far as maybe the underlying stress that can come from trying to be accountable and responsible in that sense. And what I've learned from that, as far as like trying to still maintain accountability, I just try to be more so just aware of my actions. I try to simplify things a lot now for me. Really recently, things I've just been trying to just simplify my life in so many different ways. And I learned a lot of that from doing. I learned a lot of that from reflection. I think reflection is another thing that goes hand in hand with being self-aware. Like I said, self-awareness could be we could have a really fleshed out conversation maybe in a future episode. But it was just something at the top of my mind that I really wanted to talk about, because that reflection is important. I reflect a lot. I think I reflect at least maybe once a month. I just love to just sit in my chair and just like don't have nothing on, just sit and just think about life, or think about something that might be at the forefront of my mind, and just ask myself, why am I so stressed out about this? That's why, and there's different methods to deal with becoming self-aware. And I'm sorry, I'm not like a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, saying Merriam-Webster's, saying like, I'm not a thesaurus, but I do feel like I've conveyed what self-awareness sort of is, right? And honestly, I do really believe self-awareness can be a superpower when you know your strengths and your weaknesses. There's a reason why Batman, when he fought Superman, he knew, I need to have a big ass, like, super armored suit that even if I fight Superman and I know this is Superman, he can rip my shit off. He can rip this whole armor off, basically, if he wants to. I need to have that kryptonite on hand, just in case. I hope that's a somewhat of a good analogy, but being self-aware can also help you just always be prepared. Like Batman, like literally, Batman is literally one of my favorite superheroes for that reason, because this man literally has gadgets, strategies, plans for everything. And as a kid watching Batman, it was like, okay, cool, Batman's smart, he's competent at what he does. But when you get older and you really realize that it is really pivotal in doing that. Batman is a fictional character, of course, but a fictional superhero character that is, I think, very self-aware in the sense of how he even approaches trying to deal with the Joker, deal with the Penguin, dealing with the Riddler, dealing with Bane, dealing with Clayface, dealing with all these different villains that he has to deal with, dealing with the League of Shadows, dealing with Ra's al Ghul, dealing with Talia. Like, bro, I'm not even trying to turn this to a whole Batman video. Let me stop. But I just say all that to say, self-awareness in that sense might be a fictional character, but I do believe there's some truth to it. Anyways, y'all let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you are watching this on YouTube, if you hear this part on whatever, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever, you know the deal is. If you watch the video, feel free to watch the video. You can listen and watch. Hey, but yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this little conversation that I wanted to have about self-awareness. Next week we're going to be dropping something else, of course, just keeping it going. And I hope y'all did catch my last 2 episodes. I really did enjoy the episode on why nostalgia always matters. It's very important to me as a person and my personality and whatnot. But even in that, there's positives and negatives when it comes to being a nostalgic person. I will definitely say that for sure. But that's pretty much it, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Feel free to check out some other episodes. And if you're just overall not just interested in Prime Feeling podcast, but other things I'm doing as well, I'm currently streaming Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 or Tenkaichi. I always call it Tenkaichi. No one ever tried to correct me, so I never cared. And then Sparking Zero, of course, as well, as far as gaming is concerned and whatnot. But yeah, if there's any other videos y'all might want, as far as anyone watching on YouTube, feel free to comment in the comment section. Let me know down below. Let me know, do you believe self-awareness is a superpower? Honestly, let me know what you guys think. Peace, y'all. Take care.